And now, Knock 2 Studios presents Common Censored.
And welcome back to Common Censored. Thanks for being here, all of you censored commoners. I'm Lord Sterling, and this is episode 253. All kinds of crazy stuff to cover today. As usual, Trump leading Kamala in the Polymarket, 54 to 45.4%, wielding an impressive 8-point lead over Kamala at this point. So that's good news. On the other hand, the feds have apparently claimed the authority to assassinate Americans, which is not good news. Hackers have breached the American waterworks system. Not good news. Though Elon says that under Trump, they'll be cutting 80% of the federal government and releasing the Epstein client list. So that could be a reason why they really don't want Trump to win. Make sure to join us Monday through Friday, 6:45-ish p.m. Eastern Times. We cover all the crazy clown world clusterfuck chaos on Common Censored. Use hashtag Common Censored and hashtag InfoInfantry when you share the broadcast. You can find us on X at Lord Sterling _. We're also on Gab, Getter, Truth, Minds, etc. All those fun social media places. Thanks to all of our new followers over on Rumble. Links to all the content we discussed today will be posted down in the video description on Rumble following the broadcast. So if you're watching this later on, hop on down there, check out what topics we're going to be covering. And if you're pressed for time and need to maximize the efficiency of your focus, Mama Mac will be adding timestamps to all the stories as well. So jump right to the point in the podcast where we talk about the things that interest you. Thanks, Mama Mac, for all your help. Disclaimer. Views expressed on Common Censored are only opinions. Assume everything we say is false and research for yourself. We're not giving medical, legal, or financial advice. The only advice we are giving is think for yourself. Question authority. Think for yourself. Question authority. Boom! So let's jump into the news. Let's start off by taking a little trip over to Butler, Pennsylvania, where Trump came back and conquered over the weekend, starting off his speech saying, so as I was saying, finishing off with starting with the same chart that was up the last time he had spoken there when the assassin attempted to try to take him out. But take a look at this massive crowd. Huge, you could say. Absolutely massive gathering. This was posted by Hodge Twins reposting Gunther Eagleman. Lara Logan reposted Elon posting the same thing, saying, don't tell me this is a close election. Don't show me another BS poll. Don't talk to me about margins and points and all that nonsense. There is no way Trump is losing this election if it is left to the voters. When did we ever see anyone get these crowds over and over? The people have already spoken, hear them roar. Not once have we seen the left get a crowd anything like this with this type of enthusiasm. So it seems pretty clear to me. Donald J. Trump is winning bigly right now as Kamala droops in the polls and Trump picks up more steam following the excellent performance by J.D. Vance at the debate last week. Here's some more aerial footage. Jones reposting Dom Luker with this one. Breaking, Trump Force One just uploaded this video showing the absolutely mind-numbing size of the Butler rally in Pennsylvania as Trump lands. Let's take a look at this one. tons of cars parked. Crowd is just thick with 2 C's, if you know what I'm saying. That is a big, big crowd. And man, for the people that were sitting behind Trump, balls of steel, knowing that people behind him in this location last time were hit with strays. So the American sleeping giant is waking up. The people are standing up, and they are not afraid of going to these rallies and everything. Says a lot. Nobody ran the last time. Everybody came again this time, even though what happened last time happened. So this is crazy. Corey Compratori's family was there too. I thought that was really good. They showing support for Trump, returning to the place where their husband and father had been killed, and overcoming the fear and the sadness and being given a hero's welcome. Man, that was intense over the weekend. Did you guys watch that? Let me know in the chat if you guys watched the Butler rally. Red wave, Mike LaChance writes at Gateway Pundit. 63 of 67 Pennsylvania counties have shifted Republican since 2020. That's huge. The massive crowd for Trump's return to Butler, Pennsylvania this weekend may be a sign of something bigger. The Keystone State has moved significantly to the right over the last 4 years. Combination of economic hardships brought on by the Biden-Harris administration and the hard work of conservative activists like Scott Pressler has flipped a majority of Pennsylvania counties to Republican. In big good news, 63 of 67 counties in Pennsylvania have shifted red since 2020. Usually red shift is a result of planets moving apart and the changing the frequency of light, right? But this is the kind of red shift I like to see, shifting red from blue politically. So this was posted by Seth Keschel, tracking the change in voter registration by party since 2020. Huge, huge news. Town Hall reports a major red wave is coming to Pennsylvania. Whoever wins Pennsylvania wins the election, is what I keep hearing people say. A significant red wave is looking to hit the historically blue state of Pennsylvania as more and more voters shift to identify as Republican. Less than a month before the 2024 election, Democrats are losing ground in swing states needed to secure the White House win. Following President Joe Biden's exit from the race, demon rats have relied heavily on enthusiasm to take them to victory at the polls. However, that enthusiasm, quote unquote, has died down significantly for them. What enthusiasm? The fake enthusiasm propagated by the media. There's never been any enthusiasm. Kamala doesn't draw crowds. Tim Walz doesn't draw crowds. Biden didn't draw crowds. Enthusiasm is a front. Considered to be a must-win state for Harris, polls show the odds of her securing enough votes are diminishing. In 2020, Biden won the state by fewer than 81,000 votes. And since then, the Democrat Party has lost 295,182 registered voters. This means Vice President Kamala has to exceed significantly in that state compared to Biden. Quote, given how close 2020 was, she can't have any bad news. Neither side can. We know, specifically in Pennsylvania, which I think will be the state that decides it, Paul Srachich said, a political scientist at Youngstown State University. One report even showed Trump making gains in the deep blue city of Philly. Recent poll from Trafalgar/Insider Advantage has Trump up in Pennsylvania by over 2 points. Trump plus 2.2. Current looks like Electoral College projections. Trump 296 as the winner. That would be amazing. Let's go. Trump has won Pennsylvania before, and he certainly can do it again. That's right. That's right. But it's not all good news, guys. Not all good news, as the election integrity lawyer for the Republican Party in Arizona, Corey Langhofer, has resigned. This means that 3 days before mail-in ballots are dropping in Arizona, the Arizona GOP and Team Trump don't have a lawyer to fight election fraud in Arizona. This is Laura Loomer posting this at Laura Loomer on X. I'm told Corey resigned today, and his resignation will go into effect on Wednesday, October 9th, the same day that early voting begins in Arizona. He resigned because he was unwilling to file a lawsuit over the 218,000 unconfirmed U.S. citizen illegal aliens, in other words, voters, that Adrian Fontes, the anti-Trump Democrat Secretary of State in Arizona, has refused to remove from the voter rolls. It's worth noting that Langhofer served as litigation counsel for Mittens Romney in his 2012 presidential campaign. He also served as general counsel for Carly Fiorina's 2016 presidential campaign when she ran against Donald Trump. In other words, he's a total rhino who never should have been chosen to represent Donald Trump or the AZ GOP and GOP in Arizona. This is a major problem, and it needs to be resolved ASAP. This dude sabotaging Republicans in a state where he's supposed to be helping them out. This is highly frustrating, to say the least. Right before the votes start being cast, at Now Pamsy Now says, "Hey, Arizona, is this what happens now? Dems steal the vote again? Hashtag election warfare." Let's check in and check out this video.
Last night, the RNC's election integrity lawyer, so the head of election integrity in Arizona, he actually resigned, which means that the ballots drop again on Wednesday. So 3 days before ballots are dropping in Arizona, the Arizona Republican Party and the Trump campaign do not have a lawyer to fight election integrity in this critical state. And so the attorney who resigned.
This is election sabotage. This dude is an agent. Send him to the sun. A one-way trip directly into the sun. Elon, I'm sure you got a rocket to spare. After due process, of course, FBI's ass, oh, fuck you. This is fucked up.
Been unwilling to file lawsuits for months, but like specifically, he was unwilling to file lawsuits over the 218,000 unconfirmed U.S. citizens that the Democrat Secretary of State is refusing to remove from the voter rolls. He's been refusing to do any action on the UOCAVA verification issues that we've been yelling about for years. And this attorney, too, I mean, he should not have been there in the first place. I know him. He's a decent guy, but he's never had an appetite to fight over any of these issues. I mean, he was the general counsel for Mitt Romney's campaign. He was a general counsel for Carly Fiorina's 2016 campaign. So he shouldn't have been there in the first place. We've been kind of coming to blows with him for a long time over this. And so fine, some people, I guess, are saying, well, isn't this a win, Caroline, that he resigned? Okay, sure. But like, who are you replacing him with? Well, you should be on top of this right now. We need these people set in place right now. And we need to be in court right now. We had another issue this past weekend. As you know, 150,000 students across Arizona at all the public universities received a text message from the Kamala Harris campaign encouraging them to vote. How did all of the public universities give the cell phone data? It wasn't just the students, by the way, whoever they listed as their emergency contact. So the parents also got this text message. Someone explain to me
Talk
how
about election interference. This is insane. Completely insane. Sending everybody out messages to vote for Kamala? You got to be kidding me, right, Loki? It's outrageous.
Data of public universities got to the Kamala Harris campaign. We should be in court to try and figure this out. As of right now, there is no attorney to file a lawsuit over that.
Completely insane. Completely insane. Gateway Pundit covering it as well. New Republican Party's only election integrity attorney in Arizona resigns 3 days before ballots are mailed, refusing to file lawsuits over serious election integrity issues. Imagine my shock, guys. Imagine my shock. Real quick, if you appreciate Mama Mac adding timestamps into the video description so you can easily find all these stories and jump right into the point in the podcast where we cover the things that interest you. Show Mama Mac some love and head on over to alplama.com. Alplama, yo mama, so to speak. Pick up some natural tinctures to help you remedy any of the potential ailments from which you may be suffering. Avoid the petrochemical pharmaceutical industry that wants you sick and dependent. Alp Llama. Tastes bad, but so good for you. Right, Mama Mac? Alp Llama. Yuck. All right, let's jump into our next topic, which is even more fucked up than the last one, if you can imagine it. If you can imagine it, Health Ranger Mike Adams from naturalnews.com, founder of Bright Eon, YouTube alternative over here, posting, the government assassination squads are being dispatched across the country and given execution orders. The regime just gave itself the legal, quote, right, unquote, to carry out assassinations of U.S. citizens on U.S. soil. Are you kidding me? Yeah, it should be good for CommieTube, Ed. We love Ed. Thanks for being here, Ed. Good to see you, bro. So he's reposting Amuse assassination. With just months left in office, the Biden-Harris regime decided to update the 17-year-old Bush-era directive against assassination of Americans. Why would the regime feel the need to legalize killing Americans who threaten the foundations of our democracy? In a chilling and unambiguous act, the Biden-Harris regime has recently updated the 2007 DoD Directive 5240.01, stripping away crucial protections that safeguarded American citizens from government-sanctioned assassinations. The original directive contained an explicit prohibition stating, quote, "Under no circumstances shall any Department of Defense component or DoD employee engage in or conspire to engage in assassination." This unequivocal language has been removed, paving the way for a dangerous new precedent that authorizes the targeting of both American citizens and foreign nationals, both on domestic soil and abroad, under vague and ominous special circumstances. Oh, Donald Trump is dangerous, so this is a special circumstance. They're going to take us. They're going to take us out. This is insane. This egregious alteration makes a perilous departure from the established norms that have historically protected the civil liberties of U.S. citizens. The notion that the government can now potentially authorize the assassination of Americans under the guise of national security is nothing short of a constitutional crisis. It opens a Pandora's box where the executive branch could circumvent legal processes and judicial oversight, allowing for a chilling expansion of government power and an alarming erosion of individual rights. The Biden-Harris regime's willingness to authorize assassination reflects a profound disregard for the sanctity of American lives and the rule of law. It exemplifies a troubling trend toward authoritarianism, where the state's interests are prioritized over the rights of individuals. By enabling the targeting of U.S. citizens, often without the checks and balances that judicial oversight provides, the regime is setting a dangerous precedent that could lead to abuses of power reminiscent of the darkest chapters in our nation's history. In world history, really. Moreover, the implications extend beyond mere policy shifts. They signal a fundamental transformation in the relationship between the government and its citizens. The ability of the state to conduct targeted killings without due process undermines the very foundations of our democratic society, where the rule of law and the protection of individual rights have been paramount. Yeah, like the explicit purpose, the stated purpose of the government. The only way they can assume just consent of the governed is if the explicit purpose is to protect life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, those specific individual rights listed in the Declaration of Independence. And not only is it our right, but it is our duty to overthrow any government which would alter or abuse that system. They do not have our just consent when they are claiming that they can kill us. It raises unsettling questions. Who decides what constitutes a, quote, threat, unquote? What criteria are used to determine when such extreme measures are warranted? This new directive does not merely modify existing procedures, it fundamentally alters the landscape of governmental authority and individual rights in America. As we stand at this critical juncture, we must remain vigilant and resolute in our defense of civil liberties. The implications of the Biden-Harris regime's actions demand a serious reflection and urgent action from all who cherish the freedoms granted to us by our Constitution. In conclusion, the recent updates to DoD Directive 5240.01 should serve as a clarion call for all Americans. The stripping away of prohibitions against assassination represents not just a policy change, but a grave threat to the very essence of our democratic principles. It's a stake through the heart of the republic. Let's be real. We must rally together to demand accountability, transparency, and a reaffirmation of the rights that define our great nation. The time to act is now. Let us not allow this regime to tread upon the rights of the American people without consequence. That's right. No step on snake. No step on snake. Let's check out Natalie Winters discussing this.
Specifically under the auspices of the Department of Justice.
future wife of mine, Natalie Winters, to clarify.
But I think it's happening in the Department of Defense too. There was a new directive that was released just a few days ago. It's a word salad headline, but I'll read it for you. DoD intelligence and intelligence-related activities and defense intelligent component assistance to law enforcement agencies and other civil authorities. Now, if you drill down and you read this report, which I did, you can see that the Biden regime on September 27th went out of their way to revise guidelines that is on domestic work here, potentially against civilians, on assassinations. Curious timing, I would say, but when you drill down and you read the changes, the quite substantive changes that they made, it gets a little concerning. As of November 9th, 2020, it was, quote, under no circumstances shall any DoD component or DoD employee engage in or conspire to engage in assassination.
Sounds reasonable.
They then went out of their way, in the same way that they've gone out of their way to change the text on the page on the DOJ website about human trafficking to omit references to human and child sex trafficking as a crime. But we can pause the discussion on that for a second. September 27th, so just a few days ago, they revised the document to say no DoD civilian employee or member of the armed forces will engage in or conspire to engage in assassination. Now, if you saw that picture up on screen, you can see, first of all, they stripped it of the under no circumstances portion. But even worse, they omitted DoD component and whittled it down to merely DoD civilian employee or member of the armed forces. Now, I don't exactly know what this means, but I don't think it bodes well, especially when you see individuals with ties not just to, shall we say, the DoD through the form of the Azov Battalion in the case of Ryan Ruth, who actually received funding from the Pentagon, or people like Thomas Matthew Crooks, who of course has some level of
super sketchy foreign transactions, connections with FBI people, with crooks. I keep telling you guys, they want you dead. They want you dead. Here's more evidence as they authorize themselves to assassinate American citizens, both domestic and abroad. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. Let's hop over to Health Ranger again. Mike Adams, naturalnews.com. I thought this was a good post that dropped on Friday, I think. Yeah, the 4th. You are witnessing the final chapter, collapse stage of the United States government. Every single federal agency is either incompetent and useless or weaponized against the American people. Mass looting of the Treasury via money printing, foreign aid, racketeering, is in its final blowout stage. The courts have collapsed into insanity. Tina Peters sentenced to 9 years in prison for doing her job. The rule of law has collapsed. And the, quote, rules-based international order, unquote, is nothing but a global criminal cabal run by the West, looting and pillaging the world for resources and cash. Critical power grid infrastructure components were all shipped to Ukraine. The National Guard has been utterly depleted of weapons and munitions to disarm the continental USA, while the borders invasion continues as planned by traitor Mayorkas. This is what collapse looks like, and it's going to get a whole lot worse before it gets better. Michael Yon and Matt Bracken know exactly where this goes next. Super insane, just this whole situation that we're in right now. But what's even more insane, Raggedy Ann promoted. They're failing upwards to unforeseen degrees. Everybody knows that you fail upwards when it's DEI and on the left, but this one is just ridiculous. Cringe John Pierre promoted to senior advisor to Joe Biden. Like, are you kidding me? You have officially died of cringe. Cringe John Pierre. Everybody on the right widely considers Cringe John Pierre as the worst press secretary in American history. Everybody hated Jen Psaki, but everybody recognized that she was intelligent, that she was good at twisting things and spinning things and manipulating things slickly in favor of the left and for Biden. Cringe Jean-Pierre is just terrible. She never has any answers. She can't talk. She is constantly looking at their notes. Whereas, Jen Psaki would be boom, on point, always has something to say, always has a retort, always has some deception to fall to manipulate people in the press conference. Cringe Jean-Pierre is the worst. The worst. White House Press Secretary Cringe has been promoted to senior advisor to Joe Biden, according to ABC News. Cringe Jean-Pierre will continue to carry out her duties as press secretary. Recall that on the first day of her job as White House Press Secretary in 2022, May, Cringe wanted the reporters in the briefing room to know how special she was because she's a black lesbian. She's got a gay black vagina, guys. She's going to be so good at this. Quote, I am obviously acutely aware that my presence at this podium represents a few firsts. I am a black, gay immigrant woman, the first of all three of those to hold this position. I would not be here today if not for generations of barrier-breaking people before me. I stand on their shoulders, the 49-year-old granddaughter of Haitian immigrants said. Cringe Jean-Pierre is the most incompetent White House press secretary ever. Major DEI/affirmative action fail. Biden's surrogates tried to oust her last October, but failed. Now she'll be one of Biden's senior advisors in the last months of his lame duck presidency. Unbelievable. It's outrageous. What about Cos Cob, Mama Mac? I remember a bridge collapsed down there in Cos Cob sometime before I was born. Cos Cob, Connecticut. Bridge fell, went out, a bunch of cars dumped into the river. Crazy. The Mianus River. M-I-A-N-U-S. My anus. Anus. All right, let's jump over to our next topic over here. George at Be Hizzy Tweets posted this one. Watch. Elon Musk says he would like to cut about almost 80% of the federal government working under Trump. LFG. Make it 95%. Quote, do we really need whatever it is, 428 federal agencies? Nope. Let's watch the video.
And he's very supportive of having some kind of, government efficiency commission. You can call it Department of Government Efficiency, Doge.
Doge.
I kind of like Doge. It's more fun. Where we just take a look at all the federal agencies and say, do we really need whatever it is, 428 federal agencies? Like, if there's so many that people have never even heard of, and that have overlapping areas of responsibility, we should, there are more federal agencies than there are years since the establishment of the United States, which means that we've created more than one federal agency per year on average.
The exact opposite of what we're supposed to do. Insane. So there's obviously lots of reasons not to trust Elon Musk. This is, pushing the EV thing, climate change stuff, low orbital satellites that can be used to activate, graphene and things inside the people's bodies that may be there we can't talk about on YouTube. All kinds of reasons not to trust Elon, but every day there are more reasons to trust him as well. He's, he came jumping onto the stage in Butler, Pennsylvania over the weekend. It really seems like he's all in on MAGA at this point. So we better hope and pray that he is, because he's in a position to deal critical damage to the establishment with his insider, all of his insider connections and the projects that he's involved with. We need Elon on our side. Let's continue.
That seems a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. Understatement.
That seems crazy. I think we should be able to get away with 99 agencies. I don't know. That seems a lot like a lot of agencies.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
2 per state. That's a lot.
Yeah, exactly. We should have fewer agencies, and they certainly shouldn't have overlapping responsibilities. And then we need some kind of, we just need a review of regulations to say which ones are sensible and which ones are not.
Academics.
Because
What's
if
up,
you've got
bro?
regulators every year, they're going to add more regulations. It's just automatic. Like they're just output regulations.
Crazy bee.
And there's more laws and regulations every year until basically everything's legal. So we can't get anything done. So we need some kind of garbage collection for regulations that don't make sense.
Yep. For every one regulation passed, eliminate 10. Isn't that a policy Trump has said that he will make sure is active when he's president? And Ed, that's good to hear. DeSantis is doing a good job, not fucking around down in Florida. Really good to hear that.
I think I'm saying very obvious things.
You are saying obvious things.
Yeah. So
which will be very unpopular things.
Yeah. I'll probably need, if this happens,
Michael Jordan's up.
Quite a significant security team. So that because someone might literally go postal on me from the post office.
Yeah, apparently Elon has doubled his security at this point with assassination attempts on the rise and anything and everything. Super, super crazy stuff as usual, but it doesn't stop there. Colin Rugg posting this one at Colin Rugg. Colin with 2 L's, Rugg with 2 G's. Just in. Elon Musk tells Tucker Carlson the reason Kamala Harris is getting so much support from some billionaires is because Trump will release the Epstein client list. Oh no, they're definitely not going to like that. Let's check this clip out.
Will that ever come out, do you think?
You know, I think part of why Kamala is getting so much support is that if Trump wins, that Epstein client list is going to become public.
Yes.
And some of those billionaires behind Kamala are terrified of that outcome.
Oh, shit. Just the fact that Elon is talking about the Epstein client list, indication he's not involved. If he's not involved, that means he's not easily controlled, which means that it's still possible for him to really actually be on our side. Let's fucking go. Expose these people. We need the Epstein client list out years ago. It should be the first order of business.
I think Reid Hoffman's uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Gates.
Naming names.
Yeah. And I only ask that because you just look at them and you're like, that's a nervous person right there. I don't know. I mean, I assume you know them. Yeah.
Yes. Reid Hoffman was my vice president of business development at PayPal.
Yeah.
24 years ago.
Does he seem nervous to you?
Yeah, I mean, he's terrified of a Trump victory.
Because of the disclosure that would follow?
I think, yeah. I mean,
One reason.
He's certainly ideologically not aligned with Trump anyway, but I think he is concerned about the Epstein situation.
That's fighting words. That is some fighting words right there. Holy balls. And of course, as a reaction to this, Crazy B sent me this one saying, I think it's become clear that anyone accused of disinformation/misinformation is probably the people we should be listening to. I was labeled as misinformation about COVID. Guess who was right? Same with the jib jab. The MSM can no longer be trusted. That's right, Crazy B. They haven't been able to be trusted for a long, long time. ALX posting this one at ALX on X. Benny Johnson's producer, MSNBC, calls Elon Musk, quote, the world's leading spreader of disinformation. They're also not taking his appearance at the Trump rally very well. Look at him jumping on stage over here. Oh, man.
And I will say that Elon Musk is perhaps the world's leading spreader of disinformation, including outright lies about hurricane relief, about illegal immigrants. We've seen him do that in the last couple of weeks. And then on Saturday, he steps on stage with Donald Trump with one of the less athletic leaps I've ever seen as he bounded his way on stage with Trump. Tell us, and then spoke briefly on the former president's behalf. Tell us about that moment and what sort of you see. Yeah, he does not have much of a vertical, Mr. Musk. And I will say that.
Let's see you. Let's see your vertical, bro. Oh my God. That's all you got? Is he doesn't have much of a vertical. Oh man, these people just, if their lips are moving, they're lying. And it has been that way for like 20 years. But finally people are waking up to it. Even longer than 20. But it's more widespread for sure in the past 20 years. The propaganda has become more and more blatant and obvious as we've gone. Next, let's jump over to another big story breaking today. As hackers have breached American waterworks systems, targeted 14 million plus customers. Mario Nafal posting this one over here at Mario Nafal, Nawfal. hackers have compromised American Waterworks, the largest regulated water supplier in the U.S., impacting over 14 million people in states including New Jersey, California, Pennsylvania, and Illinois, as well as 18 military bases. The Camden-based utility has shut down specific systems to prevent further risk, pledging there will be no late fees for affected customers. Man, Camden, rough area. I was living in New Jersey. I would get stuck over there doing Uber driving every once in a while. Camden, not necessarily the nicest of places. Law enforcement has been notified as the company works, quote, around the clock to assess the breach's impact. This cyber attack follows increased U.S. concerns over foreign interference in critical infrastructure. What the hell's going on? I'd be kind of interested to say if the hackers came out and said, we'll turn on the water after you take out all of the fluoride. Since it just came out in court that fluoride is damaging to the IQs of individuals and everything like that. Maybe they should shut down the water until get rid of the poison. But I doubt that's what this is all about. So not siding with the terrorists here for sure. Just in, American Waterworks providing water to more than 14 million people hit by, quote, cyber attack. Let's jump over to this article from disclose.tv. Just a little summary over here. New Jersey water company serving over 14 million people experienced a cyber attack that mainly affected its billing systems. Specifically, American Waterworks company discovered the attack on October 3rd, reporting no impact on water services, so that's good. Cyber attacks on water facilities have risen, prompting warnings from the White House about vulnerabilities in over 170,000 U.S. water systems. It's almost like we should protect the power grid and the water system, and instead of doing that, they're sending hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine, Israel, Palestine, Iran, Lebanon, you name it, anywhere except here. These people are, you guys know exactly what they are. I don't even really need to say it, so I'll just play the clip.
It's pure evil!
It's pure, unadulterated, 100% evil. 100% evil. The environmental, lost a page there. Interesting. The Environmental Protection Agency faces criticism for the sector's lack of cybersecurity measures. It's almost like they wanted this. It's the only reason you wouldn't protect these critical infrastructure systems is if you want them to be hacked. You want to depopulate. You're planning some type of massive collapse. We've had decades to upgrade these systems, and instead we send billions of dollars to everywhere else except it's making this country safe and secure. In response to the threats, the EPA plans to increase water security inspections and require annual risk assessments. American Water assures customers that services will not be interrupted during recovery efforts. So, interesting. American critical infrastructure under attack, as usual. Donna, I saw something about that. The $750 from FEMA has a clause in contract they must sign to get the money that it is a loan and they must pay it back. And if they don't, FEMA automatically owns their land. How nice. How loving and thoughtful and caring. Let's take a trip over to Barcelona and check in with the cultural enrichment that's happening in Europe. If someone slapped my baby, I would beat them until every bone in both of my hands were shattered, says John Rich. At John Rich, look at this video of this dude slapping a baby.
Wesh. Wait! Mais ça va pas?
Give the baby to the woman and rip that guy's fucking head off. Are you kidding me? Dude slaps the baby.
Wesh.
Oh, man. Ooh, he's glad I was in there. He should be glad I was in there. Hey, Beavis. Husbro89. Good to see you, bro. Thanks for being here. Ian Miles Chong posted this one. A little bit of an update. Looks like they got him. This scumbag beat the little baby in a fit of rage. What punishment does he deserve? I'd say a spike. Spike, maybe a wood chipper. After due process, of course. T. McGroin, good to see you, T. Hope all is well. Hope you guys all had a great weekend. Thanks for tuning in. And if you guys like the show and want to support the show, head on over to our link tree at Common Censored, where you can find our affiliate link to Golden Cocoon EMF protection products. Used to be crazy if you thought there were frequencies manipulating people's minds and physiologies, but now everyone recognizes we're being hit by 5G, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, all kinds of crazy bullshit-tachen. And so now you're crazy if you're not wearing a tinfoil hat. But we got rid of the tin and upgraded to some 3.9 fine, some silver. So check out Golden Cocoon products when you guys have a chance. Protect your brainium by wrapping your cranium in a Faraday shield. CW, what's up? Hope you had a kick-ass weekend. K-Talks Radio. Thanks for being here. So yeah, pick up a beanie, a blanket. If you use a laptop, protect your gonads because the purebloods need to repopulate the planet. And you got to protect those testes. Same with the brain. They got neck gaiters, hoods, beanies, ball caps, etc. So thanks in advance for supporting the show. Let's see what we got next on the list. This is a crazy one. North Carolina and South Carolina governors reportedly are aware that this is weather manipulation and that their states are under attack. Concerned citizen at B. Gates is a psycho posting this one, quote, "They realize this is not a natural event. They're trying to digest the fact that their state is under attack. North Carolina and South Carolina governors allegedly suspect weather manipulation. America is under attack from within." Couldn't be more accurate. We got Colonel McGregor over here.
About some of your recent discussions, conversations, briefings that you've had with political leaders from the states in question that have asked you what you think. First of all, what did they specifically ask you, if you can tell us? And how did they respond?
That's right,
to
Mark.
your answers?
Yes,
Feet
Colonel
first.
McGregor, I had an hour conference call yesterday.
We got April and Mark in here. What's up, April? Good to see you. Hope all is well. April Lunger, one of my friends from Pennsylvania. Shout out to April.
With the
Let me rewind this a sec. Sorry.
You can tell us. And how did they respond to your answers?
Yes, Colonel McGregor, I had an hour conference call yesterday with the representatives and senators from the Carolinas. And we presented the data to them to answer their questions about how this manipulation occurs. They realized this was not a natural event. They're trying to digest the fact that their states were literally under assault from weather modification operations that are clearly connected with DoD operations. And we can speculate again on the agendas and objectives being carried out, but the fact that the storm was manipulated is absolutely inarguable. We know that technology to stop these rotations from even occurring has existed for decades with the manipulation of atmospheric pressure zones. HAARP in Alaska is one example many people are familiar with. That's an ionosphere heater. That's a weapon of mass destruction, period.
Boom. Absolutely. Undeniable. This is all just too suspicious. And it doesn't stop with Helene either. We now have Hurricane Milton, which could be the worst storm to hit Tampa in 100 years. What are the odds that all of these massive hurricanes are just rising up out of nowhere, right at this critical political moment, smashing down red areas? Let's take a look.
For the third time since August, another hurricane is expected to hit Florida. This one, called Hurricane Milton, which has strengthened to a Category 5 storm with an anticipated impact along the Gulf Coast. Heavy rain has already hit the Sunshine State. This was in Broward County. Coastal cities like Tampa are still cleaning up from Hurricane Helene and bracing for landfall this week.
If it stays
Just
on
coincidence,
the predicted
guys.
trajectory, we are in for over a century storm here with Milton.
Many homeowners are taking it seriously, stocking up with water, plywood, and sandbags.
The entire Florida peninsula on the Gulf side has the potential to have major impacts from storm surge. How that storm ultimately develops in terms of the track, will obviously have a big impact in terms of which areas are going to get more damage than others.
There's currently mandatory evacuations in place in numerous counties on the West Coast.
This is the real deal here with Milton. So please heed those warnings. As I often say, if you want to take on Mother Nature, she wins 100% of the time. Heed the warnings and evacuate.
I'm Lee Sheps.
Unless they're manipulating Mother Nature's weather with HARP, then it's the humans that win over Mother Nature, as they figured out how to use trillion-watt lasers to manipulate the ionosphere and create storms and steer them and all kinds of crazy crap. So yeah, now we're getting a double feature as Helene passes, and now Hurricane Milton has showed up. An extremely powerful Category 5 storm. It's become one of the strongest hurricanes ever recorded, with maximum sustained winds of 180 miles per hour. And there's been all kinds of reporting showing that the path of this storm seems to have been altered by weather weapons when it was out in the Gulf, steering it eastwards towards Florida, it seems. Just insane. Craziest times to be alive, guys. It's unreal. Absolutely unreal. Let's jump over back to Mike Adams at Health Ranger on X. Alert! Hearing from a reliable source that Florida residents on the Gulf Coast who are evacuating to the north on I-75 are finding no fuel. Nearly all gas stations wiped out. Vehicles will soon be stalled on the interstate, blocking evacuation, zombie apocalypse style. Already bumper-to-bumper traffic heading north. All this while the storm is strangely intensifying beyond any normal weather patterns. This is shaping up to be catastrophic if you are evacuating by vehicle. You may want to bring extra fuel with you in a safe manner. This is messed up. Houston Metro evacuated to escape Hurricane Rita. Several 100,000 people were stranded on highways for 12 plus hours because all service stations ran out of gasoline. DeSantis better get on this immediately. Let's take a look at this. Stephen Miller, PhD, posted this. Shocking contrast. Once a thriving landscape, now a graveyard. Cars, homes, and bodies lie buried under the river's destruction. Lives have been wiped out by Hurricane Helene, leaving devastation in its wake. Compounding the tragedy and suffering, FEMA's gross mismanagement has deepened the despair. Oh, man, this looks like it's going to be brutal. Before and after photos. This is fucked up. But they'll just send hundreds of billions of dollars to other countries and leave us to deal with all this bullshit with no help. No help after squeezing us dry financially so that we can barely even help each other. It's completely messed up. Let's jump over to our next topic, and then we have a lot more Hurricane Helene stuff to cover as well. First, let's hop over to the Blaze. Blaze Media reporting $100 million naval ship under command of lesbian captain runs aground, catches fire, and sinks. DEI doing exactly what it's meant to do. Online critics speculated that the captain was a DEI hire based on her resume. Officials are investigating the circumstances that led to the sinking of a $100 million naval ship that was under the command of a lesbian captain with no previous command experience. No previous ship command experience. The incident in New Zealand's first naval loss since World War II. Now we have an environmental disaster on our hands, caused by the very people who are always crying about the environment. Captain Yvonne Gray ordered the crew of the HMNZS Manawanui to abandon ship on Saturday evening when the 275-foot vessel struck a reef in the waters south of Samoa. 75 people were saved, and no lives were lost. Critics on social media immediately noted that Captain Gray had no ship command experience on her resume and previously admitted that she had ulterior motives to seeking the command of the naval ship. In a 2022 interview with New Zealand's Navy Today magazine, Gray said she and her wife schemed to move to New Zealand after falling in love with the country on a camper van holiday. This is what happens when you hire people who don't give a shit about what they're doing because they're gay. She has a gay vagina, guys, so she'll be a great ship captain. Until she destroys that reef, runs over the reef, and sinks your $100 million ship. Whatever happened to just merit earning people jobs? Now you got to be like an intersectional, specimen in order to be put in charge of shit until you ruin it, and then that nobody seems to think there's anything unusual about this. How do we get to live here, we asked ourselves, she said, then added, quote, the most obvious thing was to apply to join the Royal New Zealand Navy. Really? That's the most obvious thing? Chief of Navy Rear Admiral Garen Golding said Gray made the right decision to order the crew to abandon ship. Evacuating a ship at night is incredibly complex and dangerous task, he added. Yeah, don't hire random lesbians from other countries who have no experience commanding ships to sail your $100 million naval vessels. How about that? Let's check in with SNL, who for once is actually doing funny stuff instead of just ragging on Trump all the time. They brought in Dana Carvey, if you can believe it, to do Biden. And look at this. This is hilarious.
Folks, that's right. A lot of people forget I'm president, including me. But guess what? And by the way...
Oh, man. Outlaw dogs. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Let
me rewind that. He says, and guess what? And by the way, changing topics to perfect Bidenism.
But guess what? And by the way... I did a pretty good job. I passed more bills than any president in history. But folks, we still got work to do, no joke. I'm being serious right now, come on. And guess what? And by the way, the fact of the matter is, the rich don't pay their fair share. They gotta pay the fair share, we gotta build back better. The build back the better, the better, the better. Build back the better. Can't believe it's not butter.
Oh, man. Dana Carvey. Turtle. Dana Carvey doing good work. That was hilarious, man. Big props to Dana Carvey. Unbelievable that they're actually allowing people to make fun of Biden now. Let's jump to our next topic. From Jim Hoft to Gateway Pundit Hollywood scandal. 3 A-list celebrities allegedly featured in sex tapes with P-Pop Diddy Pop, claims attorney. Attorney Ariel Mitchell Kidd has come forward with more explosive claims involving 3 A-list celebrities allegedly caught on tape in compromising intimate situations with disgraced rapper Sean Diddy Combs. Tapes are said to be circulating on the underground black market. Mitchell Kidd, who's representing one of Combs' accusers in a high-profile sexual assault case, dropped this bombshell during an interview with News Nation's guest host Laura Ingle. According to the attorney, these explicit tapes were purportedly recorded at Combs' residence, and some of the individuals involved had no knowledge they were being filmed. The tapes, allegedly pornographic in nature, reportedly feature not only Combs, but also other high-profile celebrities, including one individual even more high-profile than the disgraced rapper himself. We did cover this last week, but thought it was good to bring it up again, because this is going to be major, potentially.
What are you hearing tonight?
I actually received the New York Post article from the person who contacted me to sell the tape. They sent me that article. I was not shocked by what I read in the article. I was hoping that even the client that I contacted would reach out and see and kind of alert that person. that this was going on and to possibly help them. The person who has the tape really doesn't want to shop it around. They really want to help and wanted to directly sell it to that person, but it seems as if they are going elsewhere.
You know, we know that you've seen the footage. You talked about that last week when you were with us. So, you know, as you know who it is, and I know that you can't tell us who it is for all the reasons, right? But as you know who it is, and as we're moving through this story, and it's starting to really feel like it's unraveling, and you feel bad for the person, and we don't even know who it is there anything more you can tell us about that part of it?
I really do feel bad about the person. Part of the reason that I did come and say something outside of just to protect my own safety, but I wanted to sound the alarm, essentially, bring the dog whistle, if you will, to that person that maybe they should do something about this before it came out. If I was them, I would do something about this. And the only way to do anything is to do the catch and kill. That's the only way to ensure that it doesn't come out. You know, we're taught that God helps those who helps themselves. So if we have a situation where that person does have the opportunity to purchase the video, if I were them, I would absolutely purchase the video.
Wow.
Speculation to maybe Ashton Kutcher. People are out there talking about that. I don't know if I actually grabbed the story to cover, but there's some sketchy stuff going on there.
Well, do you think this is going to surface publicly? I mean, are we getting close to that moment?
From what I'm hearing, I think so. I'm hearing whispers that there is at least one major network, possibly two, in a bidding war for that footage. So I believe we're sooner rather than later maybe finding out, unless that person comes and purchases the video themselves, which is really the goal of the people who have the video. They just, you know, at this point, if that person doesn't want to purchase it, then it's going to go on the open market.
If this video shows criminal activity and you sell it back to the people on it, wouldn't that be participating in the cover-up of a crime? Wouldn't that be a crime itself? You are duty-bound to come forward and expose this stuff. If there's criminal stuff going on in there, don't give these scumbags the opportunity to protect themselves by purchasing the tapes. It's ridiculous. Big as life. What's up, brother? Hope you're having a good Monday. Thanks for joining us.
Wow. You know, we've been hearing that this has been going on in Hollywood for a really long time. This is just the latest, but this is such a big deal, obviously, for all the people that are involved. You know, even if the sex was consensual, the footage was illegal, being obtained without the subject's knowledge. So how is this possible?
That's how blackmail works. Is it illegal? You're on private property. Do you have a right not to be videotaped on somebody's private property? If it's a single party consent state, then they don't need your consent to record you on video. You need to exercise caution and responsibility and understand that you could be on video at any moment. Like Trump apparently has been ultra paranoid about being recorded in hotels and stuff like that. One reason why he builds his own hotels all over the world, so that he can't be entrapped with secret video cameras all over the place.
Well, how does the sale and the release of this work legally?
So I think that's the issue here. After reading a Post article, it seems that if the filming was not, the person was not aware that they were being filmed. So with that being said, that comes into a secondary issue of if this person was not aware, which is again why the first goal was not to take it to the open market. But then that's an issue for the purchaser who ends up purchasing the video. That's their legal problem to then overcome, not necessarily the seller's problem.
Right.
That's a good idea, Biggs, but I think they would probably have one of the stipulations of their agreement would be that you're purchasing the exclusive copy. Otherwise, there's no point in purchasing it all. But yeah, I feel you. Screw them. Take the money and then also give it to law enforcement.
Right. Well, I've got to ask you, if you were an attorney for this A-lister, how would you handle this? You know, is there a way to make this go away other than the hush money thing? Is there anything that can be done legally?
Yeah, interesting point, Sam. Could it be victims on the tapes that they're talking to or talking about? Excuse me.
It's not a hush money situation. It's a there's a thing of value that is
I agree,
for
Mama
sale.
Mac.
So in a legal sense, the only way to control it is to have possession of it.
FBI has some tapes, Donna, but there's a whole bunch of stuff on the black markets right now because people this has been going on for 30 plus years. People have tapes in their possessions. We played a video of a dude last week who has a bunch of tapes in his possession as well, and he's preparing to release them. So it's Brian Stelter on video, Mr. Potato Head himself. Brian Stelter. Oh, man.
And to have possession of any and all copies. I saw from the New York Post article that there seems to be more than one person. I don't know who the other person is who purports to have this video. They may just be a copycat who's trying to capitalize off of the publicity and say that they have a copy. Again, I can only be sure of the person that I spoke to and the stills that I saw, and that they do have a copy. But if someone else has a copy, I don't know. I can't attest to that. However, the only thing to do is to control the situation. And the only way to control it is to have possession of it. And the only way to have possession of it is to purchase it. So that's really the only way to ensure this won't see the light of day. A lot of people settle cases, settle things, buy things, do catch and kills every day. This isn't out of the ordinary.
Right.
So if the person is that concerned about this seeing the light of day where they're praying that it goes away, I can certainly tell that person, I hate to say prayer won't work in this situation.
Thanks for watching. Go to join.
Boom. All right, let's terminate the YouTube broadcast. Is she taking legal questions? What do you mean, Cheddar? We played a video from her sister the other day talking about super sketchy stuff involving Mariah Carey and her mom and all weird kind of stuff going on over there. Horrible, horrifying things. Sacrificing babies, allegedly, and like crazy, insane stuff. But let's terminate the YouTube broadcast and go Rumble and X exclusive. If you're watching on YouTube, sorry to have to leave you in the dust. But we're trying to drag everybody over to Alt Tech, so click that link, open up a new tab, come on over and join us as we go over to Rumble and X. If you can't make it, we'll be back tomorrow. But until then, let's get ready to rumble!